Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're going to be doing the bracelet and the ring that I promised to do in my last video. Now the last video I did the earrings, so the Christmas earrings, that'd be these ones. I've been wearing these for the last week or so and I'm telling you, they're so pretty. I've gotten a lot of compliments on them and I love wearing these colors during Christmas. So I decided, yep, it was time to put a bracelet and ring together for a whole set. So that will be today's video. Let's get into it. What we're going to need to make this bracelet is the 2-hole ginkgo leaf check glass beads. These are in matte metallic antique gold. We're going to need the fire polish 4mm check glass beads. These are in green emerald. We're going to need our 11-0 Miyuki Delicas, one in lined red and the other in transparent green. I also have my own 50-0 round seed beads. These are in gold plated. Now I was using 8-pound fire line, but I ran out, unfortunately. So you can use 6-pound, either 6-pound or 8-pound fire line is fine for this bracelet. So I'm going to finish it off with a 6-pound, unfortunately. Like I said, I ran out of the 8-pound fire line, so I'm going to finish it with a 6. 11 or 12 beading needle. And you're going to need these really cute link square flower connectors. Now these are 16 by 16 millimeter. These are also in antique gold. They are really pretty. And you're going to need your 8mm Krakowski crystal. Now these ones came in that assorted bag of crystals. So you're going to need 3 of these today. And we're also using a symbol magnetic clasp. Now this one is for the Delicas. And this is also from Eureka Crystal Beads. Now it's not part of this collection, but I buy a lot of my findings from there. So we're going to use this magnetic clasp today. Now I'm using my little cutters. These are actually little wire cutters, but I use them for trimming off my thread. But you can use, as long as you use something like this or a really good pair of scissors. All right, I'm going to clear this off and we are going to get started on this bracelet. This is a bracelet we're going to be making today. Now I've already made most of it, okay, but I will go through and show you how to do all this. It's not as complicated as it actually looks. When I looked at it and Dee looked at it, he's like, that looks pretty complicated, but it actually really isn't that complicated. So first things we're going to do is we're going to bezel the crystal. Okay, I've put on 20 of the 11-0 Miyuki Delicas in transparent green. And we are going to bring that around. This is the tail end over here. I'm going to go down the opposite side and I'm just going to make a loop all the way around. Just making a circle. I'm going to go all the way around to the other side that I first started and a couple of beads past that. So here's where I began. I'm going to go 2 or 3 beads past that. Right, and we are ready to start our bezel. And as always, I'm just going to double check and make sure that it fits on there good. So I'm going to turn this over. And this part is my tail. And I'm going to start working this way. So I'm coming out of this. I think I'll bring you in just a little bit closer. There we go. I'm taking one 11-0 Miyuki in the transparent green. I'm coming out of this 11-0. I'm going to skip this 11-0. I'm going to go into the next 11-0. Another green. Skip, coming out of this one, skip this one, go into the next one. and do that all the way around. Taking 11-0, skipping that one, going to the next one. I try to hold my piece in between my fingers just to keep that shape, because doing this first row, or second row, I guess, can these can kind of move around a little bit. So I always hold the piece in my hand, like between my fingers, just to keep everything in place. So now we're at the last bead. So we're going to go, miss this one, go into this one, and then we're going to step up by going into this one. And we are ready for our next step. Okay, I've turned my work around and I'm going to head back down into here. This is where I want to work right now. I'm going to use my 50 nose to fill in the little blanks here, because this is going to be my back of my piece. I'm just going to work my way down here because I want to get to here. So this is where I want to be, right in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 50 and I'm just going to start filling in these little spaces. So I'm going to go between each of those green 11-0s. Pull a little bit extra just to snap those 15-0s into place in between the little 11-0 green beads. All right, we are at a last bead to be added, the last 15-0. I'm going to go through the next 11-0. It's going to be a little bit tight, so just pull it nice and tight. Make sure it snaps in there. You want it to snap in there. And now we are done the back. So I'm just going to check. Make sure everything looks good, and it does. Okay. Now I want to head back up to the top here, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go through these beads. We only made 2 rows with the green, so I'm just going to go up 2 beads, this one and then the one at the top, like you're stepping up, and we are ready to start this side again. 1 red 11-0, and I'm going to put it between the green 11-0s. We're going to go all the way around, filling in the gaps between the 2 green beads, the 2 11-0s. Now we are where we started from. I'm going to step up. I've already come through this green bead. I'm going to step up with the red one. And we are ready for the next step. You want to put your crystal inside there because we are going to close it off with our next row. And the next row is going to be the 50-0s. Okay? So you're coming out of this red one, you bypass that green one and go through the red one. And start pulling it nice and tight. So do that all the way around. Now your crystal's not going to be exactly solid in there yet. Just do your best, hold it in there as you're putting your 50-0s on. Making sure your 50-0s are actually sitting on top of the green ones in between the red 11-0s. Now we are at our last bead to be added. Coming out of this red one, we're going to bypass that green one, go into the next red one, and then step up to the 50-0, the gold 50-0. And we have captured our crystal. Before we go to the next step, I am just going to go through all these 50-0s again, tighten up that hold on the crystal. And there you have a perfectly captured crystal. Now that I've gone through all the 50-0s, I'm going to head back down here. I'm going to go behind the green directly under the 50-0, the gold 50-0. Now we are sitting on this side here of this green that's directly behind that gold bead, the 50-no. That's where you want to be sitting. Now we're going to start adding our ginkgos. Put 5 50-nos on your needle. Go through the other side of that ginkgo. I'm going to pull it tight. I'm going to add one of the 4mm fire polish beads, another ginkgo, and then 5 of the 50-no seed beads, and through this side of the ginkgo. Okay, and I'm going to pull everything tight. I want everything to be nice and sturdy. So we're going in with this green bead. We're going to count 1, 2, 3 and go through this green bead. So through this bead, this is where we're coming into for the ginkgo set. And then 1, 2, 3. So count the front green beads, not the back ones. Okay? And that is your first set done. Now we're going to add the next set. So you're going to have 2 50-nos, 1 fire polish, 1 50-no, 1 fire polish, and 2 50-nos. And we are coming out of this green bead. We're going to miss this green bead and go into this green bead. I just wrecked my beading mat. Just kind of ignore that, okay? Now we're ready to add this sequence of beads again, your ginkgo. Add 5 50-no seed beads. Go through that ginkgo on the other side. Add a fire polish. Another ginkgo. Five 50-no seed beads and go through the other side of your ginkgo. Coming out of this green bead, we're going to count 3 over. 1, 2, and then 3, and we're going to go through that bead. And we're going to add this last sequence of beads to this side here. 2 50-nos, 1 fire polish, 1 50-no, 1 fire polish, and 2 50-nos. And you're coming out of this green bead, you're going to count 1 and then go into the next green bead where your ginkgo is coming out of. And that is the motif. Now take your needle, you're coming out of this green bead, you want to go up that ginkgo bead. Go through 2 of the 50-nos. Now you're going to put 1 50-no, 1 red 11-no, and 1 50-no. And you're going to bypass one of the 50-nos, the middle 50-no, and go into the next 2 50-nos. And then go down that ginkgo. Going to go through that fire polish and back up the other side of the other ginkgo. Now I've already gone through one of the 50-nos because my needle just decided it wanted to do that. So we're going to go through one more 50-no. So this is where you're sitting here. Again, 1 50-no, 1 red 11-no, and 1 50-no. You're going to skip the middle 50-no and go through the last 2 50-nos. Go down that ginkgo. And then we're going to go through this 11-0, the one holding this set of beads. And basically we're going to make our way across to the next ginkgo. So just diagonally back and forth between the 11-0s, making your way across. You can go through the red ones as well. It doesn't matter, it's not going to be seen. Now you want to come out that green one there. So the green one that's holding the other side of this set of beads. So you're sitting right here. Now you're going to go up that ginkgo, and you're going to do the exact same thing you just finished on the other side. Through the two 15-0s, one 15-0, one red 11-0, and one 15-0. Bypass the middle 15-0 and go through the last two 15-0s. Go down that ginkgo. Sorry, go down the other side of the ginkgo. Through that fire polish. And up the first side of that ginkgo. And go up two of the 15-0s. And add your last set of beads. Miss that 15-0, go through the last two 15-0s. And my dogs are barking like crazy. What we want to do now is add our link square flower connectors. Okay? Because the first one you're going to make, you're going to want to add one on one side and one on the other. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to go back down this ginkgo. And we're going to go up this green 11-0 here. And then you want to go up these beads here. So the two 15-0s, the fire polish, and then go through that 15-0. Now you're going to take this and you're going to go through that hole there. Okay, you're going to pull it tight. And then you're going to go through this side of that 15-0 only. Pulling it down. And then you're going to go back up behind the link and through this hole here. So this one here. And then you go back through this side of that 15-0. Pull it nice and tight. We're going to go down the next fire polish and two of the 15-0s on the other side. Now we're going to go through that green bead. And we're going to go up the ginkgo. And then up these three 15-0s. Now you're going to add two 15-0s onto there. You're going to go through the top of that link bead, or the link, then add two more 15-0s, and you're going to go through the red 11-0 and the other three 15-0s. And you have captured the one side there. Now here is where we're going to add four 15-0s, and we're going to go through that fire polish bead. We're going to add four more 15-0s, and we're going to go through those three 15-0s. So this is where we are at now. So now you want to add the other link. Now you're not going to have these other pieces on here when you first begin, but this will show you how you go all the way around to add the very first link. Because the first link is both of these. So one square flower connector link, your motif, and your other square flower link. We're going to do the same thing. Now go through that next red 11-0. Pick up two 50-0s. You're going to go under and around the back side of that. Then pick up two more 50-0s and go through the three 50-0s on the other side of the red 11-0. And you've connected the other side. Now, like before, you go down that ginkgo bead and then through the green bead, and then up this set of beads. Again, like before, two 50-0s fire polish. Go through this 50-0 and then through the back of this side here of the link bead. Come around, go through the 50-0 and then back of this hole of this link bead, and then down around to the front of that 50-0 again, go through it again, going in the opposite direction. And now we've added the middle bead. I'm going to go back down that fire polish and two 50-0s. Go up the ginkgo bead, the next ginkgo bead, I want to go through the three 50-0s before the red 11-0. Now you're going to pick up two 50-0s. You're going to go down the front of this side, that link bead. Okay, I'm going to turn my work around a little bit. And you're going to get two more 50-0s. And you're going to go through that red 11-0 and the three 50-0s. And this is where we are at now. 4 50-0s. Go through that next fire polish bead, just the fire polish bead, to just close off that ginkgo bead. Then 4 more 50-0s, go up first three 50-0s before the red 11-0. Then two 50-0s, come up through the back of that connector bead. Two more 50-0s and go down those three 50-0s on the other side of the red 11-0. I'm going to go down that ginkgo bead And I've added my link square flower connectors. And I'm just going to tie off now. Okay, so what I did was I made my one motif and then I added the 2 link beads onto there to make the first part of the bracelet. Then I added the next motif and just added 1 of the link beads, then came around here and just attached this to this side here. So just go back, follow what I did, bezel your crystals, do your motif, do this one first. So this 4, you know, this set here, and then do the half. So 1 motif, 1 square, 1 motif, 1 square, and then attach it like I showed you. Once you have that done, we are going to add this side of the bracelet. From link to link, this design part of the bracelet is exactly 5 1/8 of an inch. So the nice thing about this bracelet now, and keep your measuring tape handy, is that you can do this part as long or as short as you want to. So I'll show you how to start putting this part together, and then you just decide how long or short you want this to be, depending on your wrist size. Okay, so I'm going to make this bracelet here is going to be approximately 7.5 inches in length. I wanted it to be a cuff, but I don't want it to be too tight either. So it's going to be kind of a cuff, a little bit looser, just slightly looser than what a cuff would be. So I put another 3 feet of thread on here. Again, you probably don't need that much. Go through the one side of your magnetic clasp first, then put 11 11/0 onto your needle. Ugh, I'm gonna have to change this. That's driving me nuts. And then go through the other side. I'm gonna leave about a 6-inch tail on the other side. So just hold that a little bit tight. Now I've gone through here and I'm going to go back around and capture all of these 11/0 again. Make sure you don't miss any because they look really funny when you do. Make sure you get them all. So I'm going to check and make sure I got everybody. Yep. And you want to pull that through. Holding your tail tight. Then I'm going to go back through the other side again, tight, and then go through those 11/0 one more time. Just double check, make sure they've gone through. And I'm going to go through the end one more time. And that should be plenty. This is 6-pound fire line, but honestly, that's like what, 3 times? Okay. Now what we want to do is add our beads. So we're going to miss this first one. I'm going to add 1 green transparent 11/0, and we're going to go into the next 11/0. Trying to hold everything nice and tight. Okay. Do that again. You're coming out of this one. You're going to miss that one, go into the next one. And like before, when you bezeled the crystal, just to hold it in your hands, it just makes it a little bit easier, holding everything in place until you can add your other beads. Coming out of this one, missing that one, and going into this 11/0. That's what it should sort of be looking like. I'll get in a little bit closer there for you. Coming out of this one. Coming out of this one, miss that one, go through the next one. Coming out of this one, miss that one, and go through this one. Now you want to add a green one to this side here. So we're going to add the green. So we're going to go through this bead here, very first little bead. You're going to add a green bead. Now we're going to start adding our 50 nose. So go through that next bead. And put your 50 nose between each one of the green beads. So it looks like that. Now I've added a bead. I'm coming out of this bead. I've added the green bead and I want to go through this little 50 nose seed bead here. Okay, then you're going to go across with a green bead between the 50 nose. Okay, and when you get to the end here, you're going to go through that 50 nose and the green. And that's what it should look like there. Now you add your next green bead and you want to go down this 50 nose and then back around this 11 nose and then back through that 11 nose to face this way, so you can ready yourself for the next set of beads. Now you're going to add the 50 nose in between all the 11 nose. Until you get to the last bead, and then you add a green 11 nose, go through that 50 nose, and now you add your green 11 nose between the gold 50 nose, and you go back. And then you go through the last 50 nose and the 11 nose. And when you're on this side, you add your other 50 nose and you go back through that 50 nose. And go down this 50 nose. Back through that 11 nose, and then through that 11 nose to begin your next row. Okay, so I'm going to do that one more time for you. So add your 50 nose in between all your green 11 nose. And when you get to this end, you just add your green bead and you go back through that 50 nose. And then you just add your green beads between all the 50 nose. Okay, one more time on this side. You add your green bead, go through that 15-0, down this 15-0, below it, through that 11-0, and then through this 11-0 to get ready for your next row. Now before we continue, I'm going to take the tail end of my thread here. I'm going to go back through this side. So this is the tail end of the thread that I left. I'm going to get rid of that right now. We don't need it anymore. But I did want to keep it to add one 15-0 between each of these 11-0s. This is just to finish off this side. And that'll just finish that off. So I've gone through the side of the clasp, and I'm just going to weave my thread through some of these beads and tie off. The 15-0s are really good for that. They're a little bit tighter, so they'll hold that thread in really nice. I'm just gonna trim that off there. Now that the tail is gone, we can continue with our end piece here. So make this piece as long as you need it for your length of bracelet. So I'm making a bracelet that is 7.5 inches long. So what I would do is keep the measuring tape on your bracelet. Now that you've got this part done, so mine is going to be 3 3/4. That's the middle. Okay? So as I'm working with my piece, I'm just going to keep an eye on where I need to be. When you add the beads here, like we are going to do, they're not going to take up a lot of space. So you can pretty much go by what the measuring tape is telling you. So 7.5 inches, and I'm just going to keep going and keep track and keep watch with my measuring tape on how long my bracelet is actually going to be. So make your piece here as long as you need for your wrist, and then I will meet you back here to add it to your bracelet. Now that I've got the length that I need for the end of my bracelet, we're going to attach it to this end here. Now just remember, if this side of your bracelet, when you lay it down flat to the top, this side is upside down, make sure this side is right side up. Okay, make sure they're opposite each other. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add one green one. And then I'm going to go through that first 15-0. So it sits like that. I'm going to add two 15-0s to my needle. And I'm going to go through the back part of that link. So back behind, up through this hole here. Then I'm going to add two more and go through that initial 15-0. Continuing in the direction you are working. Now we're going to add a green 11-0. I'm going to go through the next 15-0. We're going to add two 15-0s and go through the back of that link bead through this hole, then two more 15-0s and go back through that initial 15-0 on the main row. So that one there. And it just helps to hold your work. You can hear my dogs barking or howling. It just helps to hold your work down flat. I'm going to add 111.0 and go through the next 15.0. And add another 11.0 and go through the next 15.0. And then we're ready to begin that again. So add 2 15.0s. Go up the back side of that square link bead through this hole. Then add 2 more 15.0s to your needle and go through that initial 15.0. That one there. Then add an 11.0. Go through the next 15.0. And then one last time, take your 2 15.0s, your needle, go up through this hole here, 2 more 15.0s, go back through that last 15.0 on the initial row, I'll go through this 11.0 here, add your last green 11.0 and go back through that first 15.0. Now what I'm going to do is reinforce by going back through those 11.0s and the next 15.0 below. I'm going to do that all the way across that 15.0. And then I've turned my work around, so I'm going to go through this last 11.0. And I'm going to go through this first hole here. And then go back through all these beads. Just to cinch this one in so it sits nice and tight. Then I'm going to go through all those beads, tightening up everything. And then same with this one on this side. I'm going to go through this hole just to cinch that bead up. Kind of turning my work around there, I'm sorry. Just to cinch it up and have it sitting in there good. I'm just going to go down through all these beads and tie off. For the ring, you are going to need your 8mm Krakowski crystal. You are going to need your 11.0 Miyukis in lined red and transparent green. I also have the 15.0 rounds that I've been using for this whole set here. You will need your 6-pound fire line, 11 or 12 beading needle. Mine is a little bent, I may have to switch it. You will need 2 of your 3x2mm crystal rondo beads in emerald. You will need 4 of your 4mm Czech Preciosa crystal bicones. Now, I believe that's how it's pronounced, Preciosa. They have, I think, 72 pieces in a bag of these 4mm, and they're all different colors. So I chose a purple or a mauve with a gold plate on it. I think that looks really pretty. So we're going to use 4 of those today. And as you can see, for the crystal, I have already bezeled it. So just bezel it as I showed you in the first video for the bracelet. Once you're done that, we will move on to start making the ring. Now that you've bezeled your 8mm crystal, we're going to move on to the next step. Now what I want to do first, I've put on about 2.5 feet of thread onto my needle, and I'm just going to add this thread on. I like to put my thread on here and kind of get it tightened into place. I want to be able to trim off that tail before I actually start my design. I'm just gonna put it through a couple of beads, tie it up a little bit so that it's in there nice and tight. And there we are. Nice and tight, ready to go. Now I'm going to take this one and I'm going to cut this tail off. As you can see, I replaced my beading mat. That other one was in terrible shape. I don't know. I don't know. They don't last very long for me. So you should be coming out of this side of a green Miyuki. I'm going to pull you in just a little bit closer here. Okay. Should be coming out of this side of the green Miyuki. We're going to add 2 small 50 rounds to our needle. And we're going to go through the next green Miyuki, the next green 11. And then add 2 50 seed beads, and then go through the next 11 green Miyuki. So you went through this one, now you're going to miss it and go through this one. So that's what you should have there. Now I want to get back to going through, I want to come back through this way, but you don't want to go over this Miyuki. So you got to kind of work your way around, going through a couple of other beads. I think you go this one maybe. Go back down here. Just one if you can help it. Basically puzzle your way back around so that you're coming out this 50. This 50. So what I did was I went down through here, back around, kind of in a little triangle motion. So this one, this green one, this red one, this green one, this green one, back through this green one, and then through this 50. So this is where you should be situated. Now you put on your needle 1 50, 1 4mm bicone, 1 50 4mm bicone, and 1 50. So you have 3 50 with 2 4mm bicones in between each one. And then go back and down the last 50 on the other side. So it looks like that. Now you want to do the same thing as you did on this side, because you want to come back around and go back through this green one and back through this sequence of beads, this top set here. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing as we did before. I'm going to go through this 11 through this red one, kind of in the shape of a triangle. Go back up that green one, go through this green one. I know it seems like a lot, but honestly, you have to get back for everything to sit straight. You have to come out the same bead you went in. Okay, and now we're coming out this bead back to where we belong, back to where I want to be, to go back around this sequence of beads. So we're going to go around, we're going to go through these two 15-0s and the 4mm bicone. Now you're going to add one 15-0, go through the next 15-0. You're going to add another 15-0, go through the next bicone. And we're going to go down the next 15-0 off of the bicone. Go through this 15-0. And then add a 3x2mm crystal rondo bead and go through that next 15-0, this one here. Now we're going to go up that 15-0, missing the 15-0 to this side here. We're missing that one. We're going to go up the next 15-0 that is right up against that bicone, like that. I'll go through the next three 15-0s on the top. Now we're going to start on the ring shank. So add 3 of your 15-0s. You're coming out of this side here. You're going to go back and around through this side. All 3, go through all 3 of those 15-0s again. Now you're coming up at the top of this. Go through those 15-0s. Go back up the first 3 15-0s. Go back down the second set of 15-0s again. And do that all over again. So 3 15-0s. Now you're coming out of this side here. You want to go up through this side. Now go through back up. Now you're coming out of the bottom of this. You want to go back up this side here. Go back down the middle ones, the 3 middle ones. And then go back up those last 3. And the reason I go through them 2 times is to keep them nice and tight. So you keep everything nice and tight. You don't want your 15-0s to be loose in any way. You're coming out of this side. You want to go down and back up around the opposite side. And go back down those 3 that you just added. And go back up the second set of 3. And then back down those last 3 you just added. So you're coming out this side of those beads. To continue this ring, you want to decide first which finger that you're going to wear it on. So if you're going to wear it on this one, because you know this finger of course is going to be a lot bigger than this one and so on. So you want to be sure, you want to know which finger you're going to wear it on first. So I'm going to put it on this finger. So that'll be my ring finger. Now what I want to do is I want to add enough beads to do about half the ring. So if the ring is going to go on this finger here and it comes around like this, you want it to be measured to about there. You don't want to do the whole shank. Okay, you want to go about there. You want to add this piece first here to this side and then start the other half of the ring. Now you can use a ring mandrel, but I wouldn't suggest it. I would suggest just you know, measuring it out on your finger that you're going to put it on, and just keep measuring, like just keep checking all the time till it gets to be, like I said, about the middle, okay? And then stop, leave whatever tail is on there, okay? So just leave the tail, whatever is left on there, leave it on there. So do about half your ring with what I showed you here, and we'll meet back again and we will do this side. Okay, I've added my beads to where it almost meets the middle of the back of my finger. Now we're going to start on this side here, and we're going to do the same thing. So what you want to do is, like you did before, we just want to add our tail end here, go through a couple of beads. I would go, you know, up maybe this red one. Okay, now you should be coming out of this specific green 11-0. Count over from the green ones, so 7 rows over this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So you want to be sitting on the other side of that green 11-0 bead. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing as we did on this side. You're going to grab 2 50-0s. You're going to go through that next 11-0 green. And then we're going to add 2 more. And we're going to go through the next 11-0. All right, so now just to be sure everything's straight, just have a look at it. What you want to do is kind of do another run around, like a triangular run around. So I've gone through this bead, I'm going down this bead here. And I'm going to go through that green one. And then through this 50-0, right there. Now we're going to add the 50-0 4mm bicone, 50-0 4mm bicone, and 50-0. And we're going to go through this 50-0. To come back around and go back up that same bead. Like that. And then go back up your 2 50-0s and your bicone and your 4mm bicone. Add 1 50-0, go through that 50-0. Add the other 50-0 and go through your bicone. Go through the next 50-0, just one of them. Bypass this one here and go through this one here. Now you're going to add your other 3x2mm crystal rondo bead and go through the next 50-0. Just the one. And then go through this 50-0 and the bicone. And I've gone through that 50-0, which is fine. Go through the next 2 50-0s. And that is where you should be sitting. Now we've added our next section there. Okay. Now, as before, just add 3 of your other 50-0s. Go back down this side. You're coming out of this side. Go up through the 3 beads from the opposite side, and you are going to work on the other side of the ring shank. Doing the same exact thing as you did before. Keep everything nice and tight. So you're coming out of this side, you want to go back through this side. Okay, so now we've done our ring design. Now we're going to just work on the shank. So you've done approximately half on one side. You want to do half on the other side. Continue with the shank like you were doing here. Always keeping an eye on your finger measurement. You know, stop after 1 or 2. Put it on your finger. Make sure it's going to fit you right. And when you have the right length of your ring, I will meet you back here and we will finish it off. Okay, now both sides of my ring shank are done. I've measured it multiple times on my finger to make sure it's going to fit. It will. So now we want to flip it over. And because I'm coming out of this side, on this side of the shank, I want to go in through this side. Okay, so now we're going to take that and we're going to go through here. And if you find that it's getting a little tight, you can always switch to a smaller needle. I may have to do that, but right now it seems to be all right. Okay, and there, we have attached. I'm going to go through it one more time. Should tighten it up really good. Now you've attached it. Now what I'm going to do is just go back through each of the 3 . Okay, now I did switch to a smaller needle because going back through these ones is a little bit difficult with a bigger needle. Let's see if I can do that. Okay. So if you switch to a smaller needle, it's just so much easier to go back through all of that thread and beads that you just went, through designing the shank itself. So do that if you need to. It'll be a lot faster and you won't wreck your other needle. So just go through those all the way down. I'm going to go all the way back till I get to here because I want to hide this thread. I want to hide it on the pattern somewhere, not on my shank. And this will just reinforce that shank even more. Now we're back here again to this side here. Okay, and we're just going to go down. Now that I'm down here, I'm just going to go through and tie off my thread so I don't get it all caught up here. So I'm just going to go back and forth with this thread. I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to go back down here and then go through and tie off my thread, hide it and tie it off. And I will be right back. And if you're wondering what to do with the last 8mm crystal, then do the same thing as you did with the ring. You just do the one side with the design that we did. and just add as big of bail or small as bail as you want to, which would be this part here. And you can make a beautiful, dainty little pendant, add it to a chain or even a black rope chain if you want to. There you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it was clear enough for you. I know the bracelet might have looked a slight bit complicated, but honestly, if you did do it, you will realize that it wasn't complicated at all. It's actually a lot of fun to make. And the nice thing is that you can, if you don't like the Christmas themed colors that I used, you can definitely incorporate your own colors into any of these pieces, and I think they look beautiful. Now, before I get out of here, I wanted to announce November and December's winner because I'm late with November and we're already into December, so I have 2 people picked. Vicky Mundy, you are November's winner, and Shell Braham, you are December's winner. I hope I'm saying those names right. If I'm not, please forgive me. I will be emailing you with all the details. I'm going to be doing a Christmas gift type giveaway. So you're not going to know what's in there, but trust me, what's in there, you will love it. At least I hope you'll love it. This is going to be my last video of the year. Not my last video ever, but my last video of 2021. I will still be designing. I just don't want to be working on videos and editing and uploading. And I just want to go spend the last couple weeks with my family, cleaning my house, maybe do a little baking. I'm just in that mood, it's getting closer to Christmas, and every day I get more filled with the Christmas spirit. So I just wanted to wish everybody an absolutely wonderful Merry Christmas and have a happy, safe New Year. I hope you'll all join me back here in the year 2022. You guys inspire me all the time by the wonderful and beautiful comments that you leave, the fact that you subscribe, like my videos, and go over and join me on my webpage. I'm so thankful for you all. You guys are the ones that have brought this channel alive and inspire me to keep going and keep me up at night, thinking about new designs. And yeah, it's all your fault. I love you all and look forward to seeing you in the new year, and hopefully we can get our small community to grow even more. You guys have a safe holiday season, and I would be so honored to see you back here next year. So to everybody, have a great Christmas and a safe and happy new year, and I will see you back here in January. Bye.